The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. Additional support provided by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
The technology has changed by leaps and bounds. It's really what made the restoration of the wild turkey possible.
You know, sometimes during the day, we can go find the turkey on this piece of property just by knowing the time of the day and where they normally are.
Turkeys were historically found throughout close to 30 million acres in East Texas. So this is part of their historic range.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
I am spreading what amounts to chicken scratch.
Brett Collier is trying to tempt some turkey.
We'll have birds out here probably tomorrow.
He's setting out breakfast and setting up a trap, all to learn more about the birds.
We bait up an area and we set up a trail camera. We set up a big net, stretch her out, and we wait and see if the birds are coming to the bait.
Fortunately, Brett has some help.
1, 2, 3.
There's a lot of different organizations that are all pitching in. Texas A&M, you have Parks and Wildlife, ranch personnel.
You could not find a better place to have a collaborative relationship between a university, a state agency, and a private landowner than right here where we are in Duval County. Come in, all those.
This high-tech turkey work is taking place on the Temple Ranch, 2 hours south of San Antonio.
Good job.
Being open to research is just one way the ranch works to enhance turkey habitat.
In the last few years, we've had some pretty rough droughts here in South Texas, and we've lost, I'd say, up to 50 to 70% of our hackberries, which is the main roost tree here in this part of South Texas for turkeys. So what we're trying to do, we're putting up some artificial roosts in place of the hackberries that have died due to drought, and they're really getting some good use out of them.
More traditional improvements like brush management and the use of prescribed fire have also helped wildlife here. But fully understanding what Rio Grande turkey need requires being aware of their every move. For Brett and crew, that means some very early work days in this high-rise office of sorts.
We get up about 4:45 in the morning, make sure that everything's working, and then we wait on the birds to come in. Wow, that's a good number of hens. 25 or 30 in sight right now. And there's a flock of about 15 males. Look at that. Our primary focus is to look at the habitat use of Rio Grande wild turkeys in South Texas.
There's a lot that goes into it, but it only takes just a couple seconds to happen.
When the net goes off, our primary goal is always the safety of the bird. Drop, 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 drop.
It's pretty exciting when that net drops.
Any birds on the edge? That corner? It is very fast and furious. Roll them up underneath if you need to.
We try to do it as fast as we can and reduce stress on the birds.
What took you guys so long? Okay.
It's quite a rodeo sometimes.
Good work, everyone. We're gonna leg band about 10 of them, maybe 12, and then transmit the rest.
Right. Putting leg bands on them, putting radio collars on them, or backpacks in this case.
Go ahead and grab
it.
Go ahead and grab one more out of here. We put a backpack transmitter on them that we can use to follow the birds around. And currently, we've developed some that are using GPS technology.
Frequency number 151, 340.
You can use that information to identify habitat.
Traditional tracking technology only allows locating an animal when a biologist is available to go look for it.
The transmitter emits a beep, we can receive that beep, we can home in on an individual and figure out where they're at and triangulate and kind of determine what type of habitat types they're located in. Just down the road here.
But this requires manpower and does risk disturbing the birds.
He's on the move. We're pushing him.
Newer GPS technology allows much more location data to be collected unobtrusively.
It's not us going out once or twice a day saying, well, there's the bird at 10 o'clock in the morning, there's the bird at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We can tell where they're going on their time frame.
We can map daily movements, seasonal movements. We can identify the core areas the birds like to spend their time in. We can really do a lot of neat stuff. And to be honest, we're really probably just scratching the surface with some of the things we could do with this type of information.
Now with this project, we're learning where they like to nest, where they like to roost, where they like to raise broods. It's really helping us out to where we need work on certain spots of the ranch.
Let her loose.
The research is ongoing, but the findings are already shedding new light on what turkey need to succeed.
We're happy with how it's going.
We're getting better at answering the question, what do these landowners need to do to really provide quality habitat? I think whenever we're done here in a couple of years, we'll have something really valuable for the people of South Texas and hopefully Texas in general.
Hi, today we're going to learn about turkey calling. And turkey calling is really as simple as rubbing two sticks together. Anyone can learn it. You can learn it really quickly. There's basic types of turkey calls, and there's a few complex calls as well. Some of the easiest types of calls to learn from are the box call and the slate call, because literally you're rubbing friction against one another to make the call of a hen turkey. Now you want a call of a hen turkey to try to attract the tom or male turkey over to your position. And a hen turkey has very many types of calls. In fact, I've heard 26 calls, but we're going to learn about 3 today that'll enable you to call in a tom. One is called the basic cluck. Now a cluck is a call that says, hi, I'm here. And if you put the cluck in a series of calls, it would be the yelp. Now a yelp call is a series of clucks that says, I'm here, come over here, I'm having fun. Now a slate call is much the same as a box call. You rub a peg against a piece of slate and you can make that basic cluck or cut sound. And you can also make a purr or something that's kind of sweet and says, I'm feeding, I'm stretching, I'm on my daily rounds. And a purr is a nice little call to use, especially if the gobbler is close to you. Now I like to use a diaphragm call. It's a little more complicated call, but it allows me, if I'm hunting, to move my arms and hands with my bow or my gun. And it's because it fits in the top of your mouth and you can do it quite easily, but it takes some practice to learn how to use a diaphragm call. That was a cackle or a yelp. And a cackle or a yelp are things that attract birds. If you hear a putt, though, that'll scare a bird away, and that's the alarm call. Now, putting them all together, you can have fun imitating a flock of turkeys. And as you do that, you learn more about turkey behavior and turkey, and you can have fun hunting or even simply photographing and watching turkeys. I hope you learn about turkey calling today. Have fun calling.
Could do my rooster call.
The life of a turkey hunter. Sitting and calling and moving. And moving.
calling and sitting.
Oh, buddy, they are coming across.
For turkey hunters like Charles Coleman, the hunt is like a game.
Just like Battleship, this time we're setting up on this side.
The hunters are constantly moving around to find the turkeys, while the turkeys are moving around to find other turkeys. The game is trying to figure out where the birds are coming from,
They normally come from this side.
where they're going to,
Ooh, there's that hen.
and how they're getting there.
Straight through there.
It's a method of hunting called patterning.
We know where the roosts are, we know where they come off, we know where they like to run. You know, sometimes during the day, we can go find the turkey on this piece of property just by knowing the time of the day and where they normally are. And what we'll do is we'll put another...
we might be able to catch him before he gets there, too.
Yeah.
Kevin Kirshner has driven 16 hours from his home in Iowa to hunt the Rio Grande turkey. His hunt here in Texas will last just 3 days, after which he'll have to head back home, with or without a bird.
We either need to set back up sort of kind of where we did.
Kevin and host Charles Coleman are hunting the rolling pastures and woods of a 400-acre lease, an hour south of San Antonio.
Actually, what we should do...
He's going to want me to move it. Watch.
The turkeys roost at night along a creek to the east and cross through the field each morning and afternoon in search of food. There are a lot of birds in the area, but finding them amongst the mesquite, cactus, and cows is a different story.
Well, you see all the shows where everybody shoots a turkey and you think, wow, we're going to just go out there and set up underneath any tree and buy a call and just start yelping and they're going to start coming out of the woods. Well, that's not quite the case.
Prophetic words indeed. For the first afternoon's hunt, Charles set up along the east side of the pasture while Kevin headed to the south side.
Use this call primarily as your first call, and then we can switch off to a small box call or a mouth call once they come in range.
Only the birds didn't come in range.
It's probably a little too hot and they're just not moving. Ooh, did you hear what I just heard? That was a gobbler back down in the creek bottom, guys. Let's go. Thinks there's something up here.
By the time Charles made it to the creek, the birds were already on the roost.
They're not going to come out of there. So we're not going to get any closer. Go after them in the morning. We're just going to set up in the best place we can and stake ourselves down so we don't blow away.
That's old Mary Bell. That's been around for a long time. I've had that since I started turkey hunting about 13 years ago. But the hogs probably eating my decoy. There they went. They didn't like Mary Bell at all.
She stood her ground.
After a couple of hours of watching the wind blow, Charles spotted turkeys way across the field on the west side.
There they are. Let's go.
Just set up in that northwest corner. Let's go.
As Charles and Kevin moved closer, the birds moved further away, eventually crossing the fence into the adjoining property.
We should have set up in this northwest corner but they're patterned now. I mean, we know where they're coming from. So we're going to set up there in the morning.
We'll skip the afternoon hunt because, well, you kind of get the idea how this thing's going.
with a niche.
And the last morning's hunt didn't start out too well either. After patterning the birds for 2 days, Charles and Kevin set up in the northwest corner of the pasture, where they were sure the birds were going to be. Only the birds crossed behind them.
They're moving away.
So they moved the decoys one last time.
Man, thought we had them patterned, thought we had everything figured out, and they just outsmarted again, you know. But then we knew there was a second group around, so we waited and waited, and we heard them gobble, and they come in, and everything worked out fine. I only see one Tom. Oh, thank you. They seen our decoys. Yep. That's a Tom to the right, isn't it?
There are 2 Toms right there. There's actually
3.
Let's get, oh man, those are nice Toms.
Is that too far for you?
No, that's not. I can't shoot right now.
Oh, they're working back towards us.
Good.
Man, I wish we wouldn't have put that decoy that far.
Well, I want him to clock a little bit. See. One second. I can't shoot yet. I still can't shoot. Kevin, you take your turkey.
I killed 2 in one shot. 2 in one shot, baby.
Oh, it don't get any better.
Kevin ended up with 2 gobblers out of a 4-bird limit, making the long trip from Iowa to Texas well worth the effort.
I shot the middle one, and the one on the left decided to fall too, so it worked out.
Beautiful birds.
For Charles Coleman and Kevin Kirshner, patience, perseverance, and patterning proved to be the right moves when playing the turkey game.
Yeah, it's kind of a game, and sometimes the turkeys win, sometimes we win. We spent 3 days patterning the turkeys. We finally outsmarted them.
I'm gonna make this officially legal and put these tags on them.
I tell you what, we all had a great time this weekend. Hunting Rio Grande turkeys in South Texas, it just can't be beat. Except Andy Griffith had a fishing pole over his shoulder. We got 2 dead turkeys.
It's time to start talking turkey. And this is how you talk turkey. From turkey calls to turkey decoys. Some folks will try anything to trick a turkey. Say hello to the wild Texas turkey. Turkeys were roosting in Texas long before European settlers arrived. Today, there are about 300,000 wild turkeys in Texas, divided into 3 main subspecies. A few hundred Merriam's turkeys live in isolated pockets of West Texas and the Panhandle. Over in the eastern part of the state, about 10,000 eastern wild turkeys make their home in the forests of East Texas. The third type of Texas turkey, and by far the most abundant, is the Rio Grande turkey, whose territory runs roughly down the middle of the state from the Panhandle to the Rio Grande Valley. Springtime, when romance is in the air, is when turkeys really strut their stuff. Gobbling, strutting and fluffing his feathers, the adult male turkey, also called a tom, will try to attract every female or hen within earshot. dragging his wingtips on the ground warns the younger males, or jakes, to keep their distance. Usually just a gobble will ward off other toms and jakes, but being territorial, the occasional fight does take place. "100 years ago, turkeys almost disappeared from Texas due to unregulated hunting and loss of habitat.
Let him go.
Now, thanks to bag limits and a restocking program, Texas turkeys have made a steady comeback. In fact, Texas leads the nation in total number of turkeys. You can find wild turkeys at state parks across Texas.
And a lot of people just enjoy seeing their antics. They're really funny sometimes, the things that they do.
One thing's for sure, Texas just wouldn't be the same without its wild turkeys.
These Iowa residents are getting a new home in East Texas.
We received 31 birds today from Iowa, and those birds will be going out to the Angelina National Forest. Any of these birds that come into Texas from out of state, we draw blood for disease testing.
We need a sock.
We've been really lucky, have really healthy birds coming in. In addition to that, the University of Georgia is doing DNA on all these birds.
Keeping track of their kind of pedigree, just like dogs.
Each bird is banded with their own ID
45466
and will become part of a restocking effort that has been taking place for more than 40 years.
Turkeys were historically found throughout close to 30 million acres in East Texas. So this is part of their historic range. Around the turn of the 20th century, we lost birds due to overharvest primarily. European settlers coming into Texas, there were no regulations to stop them from harvesting those animals and no law enforcement out there to enforce the few regulations that we did have.
The eastern wild turkey was nearly wiped out due to habitat loss and unregulated hunting. With new laws in place, a plan was put in motion to bring the eastern turkey back to Texas.
The early efforts began with wild-trapped eastern turkeys in 1979. Dr. Raul Lopez coined the phrase superstocking.
So you're in Texas.
He said if we put large numbers of birds on the ground, up to about 70 to 80 birds, that even under the worst-case scenario, you'd have a really good opportunity for success, as long as you're focusing on quality habitat.
Everybody ready? This first group, let's go ahead, open that second flap, and dump them, let them go.
Now, in addition to restocking turkeys, biologists are trying to find out what habitat helps turkeys thrive.
Texas Parks and Wildlife was looking for a group to study the effect of prescribed fire on the reproduction of eastern wild turkeys. And so we're out here studying the movement and the reproduction period of these birds.
The students will be able to track the birds outfitted with GPS transmitters and look at where they nest versus where they forage for food.
You know, are they using a first-year burn? Are they using a second-year burn? Or how are they using it? Using with Google Earth, we can animate that and kind of show you what the toms are doing and what the hens are doing.
This latest release meets the super stocking quota for the study.
I'm excited that we now have all 80 of the birds for the study on the ground. And so essentially we're just going to be looking at the movement behavior. We'll start doing vegetation sampling at each nest site, and then that'll go into this first year's worth of data, and then we'll come back and do it again next year.
Since 1979, more than 7,500 eastern turkeys have been released into 56 counties in East Texas on wildlife management areas, private lands, and national forests.
Well, from what we can tell, the birds appear to be doing pretty well. We have some of our highest populations of turkeys in East Texas on that site. So we know that it can be very successful.
This project was funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife Restoration Program.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. Additional support provided by Ram Trucks, built to serve.